this is so far past a crossroads, rock bottom, whatever it is. I felt like coming out of the Seattle game a week and a half ago was a crossroads, and they took the wrong road. Let's put it that way. The frustrating thing, Wolf, is they were going down the right road, and then they just decided to walk right off the edge for no particular reason. So the question now is just how damaging was that game yesterday? Because it almost felt like losing a playoff game on a Hail Mary or something, because it was just so weird. It's October 6th. There's still 12 games left this season. It feels to me, I said this at the start of the show, and I would happily be proven wrong, but it feels to me like their season ended yesterday, in the sense of, if you really feel like you're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Do I think they could bounce back and get to 8 or 9 wins? I think they could. And then we're going to be looking back and saying why you couldn't beat Tennessee. You'd be in the playoffs right now. But, there's plenty of time to prove me and everybody else who feels that way wrong. But I don't know how you respond to that game. I don't even know what the first step is.
This is disaster. It's one of the worst things that could possibly happen to a football team, especially early on, Basinonians, to go out and play the way that they have played, and go out onto the field and not stink from the beginning. That's the thing that blows my mind. They went up on them immediately, and to have the collapse happen in the middle of the game. And it was the middle of the game to me. Mm-hmm. Okay, the second quarter is the middle of the game. To have a collapse like that in all three phases, it's really, really difficult to justify that. What happened in all three phases? What is it? There's a much bigger issue here than just not going out and finishing a game. What in the world happened? This is the kind of loss that, again, it can be a fulcrum point in the locker room. And this is the good thing. It's the good news. Who's going to stand up and say, this is unacceptable? And who's going to stand up and say this in this locker room? I'll fight every one of you, okay? Jerry Ball did that, okay? I'm just saying. That's the kind of thing. But they don't have that kind of, hey, we got to go out and we've got to fight for our job. We've got to go out and we've got to fight every play. You've got to have desperation when you play this game. And, listen, I know what that looks like. And I know that the leadership is there inside the locker room. I'm just wondering if it's too late to bring it out now.
That felt like the sort of game that can break a team, that it felt like maybe the defense at the end sort of broke a little bit. Weird stuff started happening because they opened the door to weird stuff happening. You're right, and I said this at the start of the show. It's going to be tough for me to not talk about the same play for 4 hours,
man,
because it's
for me, it was three plays. It was 3 plays. They beat themselves, and they beat themselves to the worst team in the NFL.
Well, and sort of, where I was going with that is, you're right. There were other things in this game that weren't great, even before DeMercado flips the ball away.
Right.
That they were going to get away with because they jumped out to a great lead. They played really well to start this game. So they were going to get away with it because they had built that big lead and because they were playing Tennessee. And it was probably going to be, a game where if he just carries the ball over the line, they probably win 31-6. And we're in here today and we're talking about a win. And yeah, it's a game you should have won, but at least you put it away. It was never really close. And there are things you got to clean up, but we probably wouldn't even be talking about the things you got to clean up until Thursday or whatever, because you're getting ready to play the Colts at that point. But the fact that you start the game and go touchdown, touchdown, punt, touchdown, there's your first 4 drives. Okay. And then from that point on, go punt, 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 fumble because you snap the ball off Kyler's face.
Yes.
Punt, fumble because you just literally give the ball to the other team. Punt, punt. How does that happen?
Stunning, I know. How does that happen? Going out and not being able to run. The first half, you were able to run the ball effectively. And Kyler's protection was okay at that point in time. Not so much in the second half. And this is the thing, the offensive line, I have to say this right now, I think the offensive line, they're really in trouble. I think they're in trouble with the offensive line. Will Hernandez, I have no idea what happened to Will Hernandez. I'm endeavoring right now to figure out what happened to Will. It almost, they pulled him out of the game, and it didn't look like he was hurting them in the game. It looked like he was helping them in the game.
Yeah, he did. He looked good when he played. It kind of looked like a pitcher coming back, and they were like, hey, you're throwing 25 pitches today, so just go out there and get an inning in or whatever. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know. Here's Jonathan Gannon on the Cardinals radio network after the game. He was asked, okay, what did you just tell the locker room? And this is right after the game, so he's obviously probably still pretty heated.
It's never about one play, but we have to, when we come back to work tomorrow, maximize every second that we're in there, and make sure we're on the details of everything that's being asked, and we're coaching the details right, and putting together a performance of 4 quarters collectively to win a game, because we have not done that. And, I know what the record is, but in my mind, we haven't done that through 5 weeks. So we got to look at that like, you're not going to win if you play a good quarter, a good half, good 3 quarters. Like you have to be able to put games away and execute and make plays when the time comes.
I almost feel for JG right now, because it did feel like a lot of the stuff that he's been talking about after these games or in a press conference on Monday, it did feel like a lot of that had started to take shape in the first quarter of this game yesterday. And it wasn't everybody. I mean, that's the other part of this.
Yeah.
You're talking about,
right. Of course, it never is.
It's not like the whole team just decided, we won. But it only takes, a couple guys, one guy maybe in the NFL to be like, yeah, we won. It's almost like disrespectful to the game of football. Like, we won the first quarter. It's over. And I don't know what you do as far as like holding anybody accountable. I'm assuming guys are being held accountable behind the scenes that maybe we're not going to hear about. But I had this question after the game, Wolf, and I maybe you can answer it. Maybe nobody can. But as a team, how do you just run back out there? Everything's the same next week, and you're playing the Colts. You just gave away a win. And I'll keep bringing up the Bears game from last year, not the Bears Cardinals, Bears Commanders. And I've had a few people point out to me that's a little bit different because A, the Commanders are a better team than Tennessee. B, it was a Hail Mary, so they got unlucky. The only reason I'm bringing that up is because Tyreek Stevenson kind of sort of quit on his team because he thought the game was over.
Yeah.
And it immediately burned them, and they lost 10 straight games. And that's my worry after yesterday.
Yeah, for me, I hope that JG actually reminded them as well that there is a sense of urgency. The motor part of motor and violence, we're going to be watching the motor part specifically of motor and violence of every guy that plays from this point forward. At some point in time, you've got to challenge these players. You have to do it. And I think JG understands it. It's one of the great things about having an edgy locker room, once again, where I can walk up and I can say to a dude, what are you doing? We need you. What are you doing? Bring it. Every play. You have the talent to do it. What are you doing? Why aren't you giving it to us? But you got to be able to hold yourself to a standard first that you'll never hold anyone else to. And they need it. They need it so bad right now. They need leadership. The only way out of this room, metaphorically speaking, for the Arizona Cardinals is through the door called team. It's the only way out of this room.
I can't even imagine being a running back, doing that, and then going and sitting in the running back meeting room the next week, and James Conner's just sitting there staring at you.
Man.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.